What's good with it? It's your kinfolk Dookie, and I'm back with another video, man. I've been wanting to do this for a while, really behind on doing this video, so it is what it is. But with CES, it's so much going on in the tech world right now, so I decided to break up all of that and bring you my upgrade of my recent RGB AMD build that I did. You can check the link here for that. But that system was my first AMD Ryzen build, which was the Ryzen 1600 with a AB350 gaming, not the 3, the 5 or whatever, just the gigabyte AB350 gaming motherboard, 16 gigabytes of RAM, the Team Force RGB RAM in the Cullinan case. Full parts and specs down in the description with links to everything if you want to check that out. Now, I didn't do a lot of Black Friday shopping, but around that time I saw a deal I couldn't pass up. The Ryzen 7 2700, this isn't the X, just the 2700, got this for about $200, which at the time of purchasing right now on Amazon is going for about $279. So that was one hell of a deal I could not pass up. Been wanting to upgrade my system, going from 6 cores, 12 threads, up to 8 cores, 16 threads. The main problem is that when I purchased this, I didn't purchase a 2nd gen AM4 motherboard to go along with it. But the great thing about Ryzen 1st gen, 2nd gen, and even Ryzen 3rd gen as announced today, it will all fit the same AM4 motherboard standard. So essentially, if you have an A320, a B350, or the X370 motherboard, you can take any generation Ryzen chip and drop it in and you'll be good to go. That's how long it's been sitting. But I actually do have an X470 motherboard on the way. I'll do that upgrade here in the next couple of weeks. I've been waiting to get some more RAM to do the whole total overhaul of this system. But I'm tired of waiting. I want to go ahead and see what kind of performance that I can get with a 2nd gen Ryzen with the 1st gen motherboard. We're gonna see what's good. I got a couple things I need to do, but first, let's go ahead and get the system ready. Now, before we get to the switch up, there are a few things we need to establish first so we can tell what the real benefits to this upgrade are. There are 4 tests that I want to run mainly to give me a baseline of what this system performs like with the Ryzen 5 1600. Let me note that all tests before and after were ran at stock values with the XMP profile enabled for my RAM. I will address overclocking later in the video. First off, I started with the oldie but goodie and ran Cinebench, getting a score of 1053 on the 6 cores, 12 threads, running at 3.2 gigahertz. Up next, I fired up Handbrake, using the 4K benchmark I found online using their built-in preset, which transcoded the video in 10 minutes and 55 seconds. I also built my own 1-minute 4K torture test video. Massive shout out to John's Films for the bulk of the footage. I'll leave a link to his channel before. I simply took various 4K clips over 1 minute using one adjustment layer and random video effects, stabilizations, and 4K transitions. The R5 1600 rendered that video in 15 minutes and 31 seconds. Now, don't think I left the gamers out. I didn't run a whole gamut of benchmarks because very few games really benefit from throwing more cores at them. But I did run the Far Cry 5 benchmark and get an average of 77 frames per second with a min and max of 58 and 104 FPS respectfully. Now it's time to do this thing. Hey Google, play my jam.
Okay.
Now that everything is connected, let's put the previous scores on the screen so you can see the baselines. But first, let's verify that we are running on the Ryzen 7 2700. Okay, running all the benchmarks again, you'll see a Cinebench increase of about 33% to 1404. With the Handbrake benchmark, we can see about a 2-minute speed increase with the 4K file rendered in 8 minutes and 56 seconds.
With the upgrade to the 2700, we shave a significant amount of time off our own 4K Premiere torture test with a new time of 11:57. To wrap it up for the gamers, we don't see massive gains, but our average is about 7 FPS faster.
Alright folks, we are officially done with the upgrade, and the big question that had to be asked was, what is the experience like going from a first gen Ryzen 1600 with 6 cores, 12 threads of raw power up to a Ryzen 2nd gen with 8 cores, 16 threads of power, but still using your first gen B350 motherboard. And honestly, the experience was pretty straightforward. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but there's one major caveat that you should know by now at the time of watching my video, which is kind of late to the subject, is if you want to use a second gen Ryzen, which is Ryzen 2600, 2700X, or anything like that, with a first gen Ryzen board, meaning B350, A320, or even the X370, is that you have to update your BIOS to the latest BIOS so that the second gen chip will just fall right in and be good to go. So that's just something to keep in mind. Other than that, everything worked out pretty straightforward. Pretty much was as simple as breaking my machine down and putting that new chip in. Now, another big question is, why would somebody do this? Why not just go buy, when you buy your new chip, buy a brand new motherboard, you get all the new features, the extra boost and everything that comes along with the second gen motherboards. Now, honestly, if that's what you can afford, when you go buy your new chip and you go buy everything new, just buy everything that comes compatible. You won't have to worry about anything. You get the newest features, works perfectly. Well, it should work perfectly right out of the box. None of the hassle. But I think a lot more people that we don't talk about upgrade exponentially, or upgrade on a path. You might get the CPU that you want for a couple years and upgrade only the graphics card. And like I said, I do have an X470 motherboard coming down the line. Make sure you're subscribed, stay tuned, check out for that. But for what I'm doing, I just wanted to check this out. And you can see the increments are there. The gains are there, but it's not massive. It's not blowing it away by any means. So it's not something that you need to run out and do. Now, would I suggest upgrading from a Ryzen 1700 to a Ryzen 2700? No. But if you did have a Ryzen 5, which only had 6 cores or less, and you want to go up to the full 8 cores, plus multi-threading, plus the ability to overclock, there's no better deals than these Ryzen chips out there. I didn't touch on it in this video too much, but I will be doing a separate overclocking guide for this type of scenario, because I know there are some people that are dealing with this exactly. So I will be doing that here in the upcoming weeks. But anything else you want to know about this system, let me know down below in the comments. It's your kinfolk Dookie. I'm gonna get up out of here. Make sure you holler at your boy.